Speedway for all the racing action. We'll have the Hooters Formula Cup cars and the Hooters Cup late model. My name is Fred Pump, and I'll be calling all the action in the pits for you. Up topside, Mark Bouchardi and Roby Helm.
Thank you very much, Fred Pump. Roby Helm along with Mark Bouchardi. And tonight's action from Hooters Racing and Hooters Sports Production is brought to you by Hooters, home of nearly world-famous chicken wings. By Jackaroo Barbie Sauce, it's not just for barbecue anymore. By Naturally Fresh Salad Dressing, nature's finest ingredients blended naturally, pour it on. By Red Dog Beer, bold yet smooth, unusually easy to drink, you are your own dog. And by Goodyear, #1 in racing, #1 in tires. Mark Bouchardi, a very unique racetrack here at Flemington Speedway. A lot of history at this track. Built back in the 1800s. They started racing cars here in 1915. It is a square racetrack. It has 4 unique turns and 4 straightaways.
Well, they got 2 straightaways between 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 they call the short chutes. They're a little shorter than the 2 on the front and the back straightaway. This used to be a horse racing track. They'd race horses during the day, and then they'd put dirt cars on it at night. Usually during the time of the fair every year, they'd run races at night for the automobiles. But this track is square in the way it looks, but they run it as a true oval. These cars tonight, the Formula 2 cars, told me that if they're running right, they will never lift around this racetrack. They will run flat out on the edge the whole race. This 60-lap race will be run flat out.
And the Hooters Cup cars on the Speedway, and the point battle is taking shape in this division with Alan May and Anthony Lazaro up there battling for the top position in points, and they're going to be starting quite a ways back through the field, Mark Bouchardi, as the cars are lining up on the Speedway now.
Well, Anthony Lazaro had a great qualifying run. He's had the fastest qualifying, but he drew the pill number 10. So he'll be starting in the 10th position. Alan May, who's just a little bit ahead of him in points, and one of he qualified 6th and will start 8th. So these are the 2 cars we probably need to watch most of the night.
That's Anthony Lazaro in car number 1 and the number 99 car of Alan May. Mark, if you've got the starting lineup handy there, we'll go ahead and run down the starting lineup for tonight's 60-lap Hooters Formula Cup race. And starting on the pole position in car number 27, it'll be Kyle Conzer out of Waterford, Michigan in the K&K maintenance car. Outside of row 1, Hal Corbin out of Marietta, Georgia in the 61 car. Row 2 on the inside, it'll be Adam Wright in the 09 car out of Columbus, Ohio. Sam Schmidt, car number 5, he'll be on the outside of row 2. Third row on the inside, John Calcutt out of Rockford, Illinois in the Rock River Ford. Outside of him in car number 8, a good qualifying effort for John Jernigan Jr., a rookie out of Oak Ridge, Tennessee in the Valvoline Van Diemen. Fourth row on the inside in car number 10, David Elliott out of Leeburn, Georgia in the Progressive Motorsports Van Diemen. Outside of him in car number 99 from Dallas, Texas, Alan May in the Colmet D'Agostino Racing Van Diemen. Fifth row on the inside, car number 20, Nemo Gidley out of San Rafael, California, the DSTP Motorsports Van Diemen. Outside of him in car number 1, Anthony Lazaro, the defending champion on the Hooters Cup circuit out of Ackworth, Georgia, the Jackaroo Barbie Sauce B&G Products Van Diemen. Mark Bouchardi, and going down through this field, we have pretty much a whole field of Van Diemen race cars, but we do have a couple other cars represented here with the Swifts and the Reynards.
Well, as far as I know, there's only one Swift and one Reynard. And these cars are different than the others, and kind of like the difference between a Chevrolet and a Ford. You see more Chevrolets because the parts are easier to get. That's why the Swifts and the Reynards, they don't run them so much because the parts are harder to get, and they're a little more expensive.
And the fans in the stands here at Flemington Speedway on their feet, waving to the drivers as they get set for the start. Let's continue to run down the lineup. Starting 11th in car number 76, it'll be Ollie Bessinger out of Carpentersville, Illinois. And 12th starting spot, the 28 car, Rick Rushton out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. 7th row on the inside, Brett O'Neill in car number 33 out of Pembroke Park, Florida. Outside of him in car number 9, it'll be John Penna out of Hackenstein, New Jersey. In the 15th starting spot on the inside of row 8 in car number 72, it'll be Tim Richardson, a rookie out of Owings Mills, Maryland. Outside of him in car number 77, Keith Altiro out of Hollywood, Florida. And continuing to run down through the field, starting 17th in car number 3, it'll be John Arenda. Nelson Calais out of Bogota, Colombia. Car number 22 starts 18th. 19th, it'll be Robert Wright in car number 94. The 20th starting spot goes to Chris Winkler in car number 29. 21st starter will be Mark Cruz in car number 95. Ricky Rutt, car number 57, starts 22nd. 23rd will be Jarrett Schroeder. That'll be a car that we'll be watching. One of the top drivers in the series out of Vineland, New Jersey. He crashed during practice, couldn't qualify. He'll start 23rd in car number 96. And the 24th starter in car number 92 out of Haines City, Florida, it'll be Marilyn McCrary in the Nikon Sports Optics Van Diemen. So that's the field is set. All attention now in the front row. Kyle Konzer out of Waterford, Michigan on the pole position. The red number 27. Outside of him, it'll be Hal Corbin in car number 61. And the field has been given the 1-to-go signal, and we'll be looking for green flag this time by Mark Bishardi. Here they come out of turn 4. Tony Boswell waves the green flag, and our 60-lap Hooters Formula Cup race is underway. 3 wide for second spot. Out of turn number 2. Again, this is a square oval. 4 turns and 4 straightaways. A good battle for that second spot. And Mark Bishardi, it's Anthony Lazaro in the number 1 car. He's already worked his way up into that 4th position.
Oh, he got a good start on this field. These cars are so unique in that they look like little Indy cars. They're fast, but they've got to be careful because these cars can explode into this guardrail in a hurry. They were told in the drivers' meeting tonight to drive within yourself because you can get hurt in a hurry here.
Battle up front for the lead, side by side. We've got the number 27 car of Kyle Konzer. Looks like Sam Schmidt in the 5 car on the inside as they come out of turn number 4. It'll be Sam Schmidt moving underneath Kyle Konzer to take the lead.
Well, Sam Schmidt was your second fastest qualifier, so he drew a good pill in starting where he's at, and he got to the front in a hurry.
Sam Schmidt started 4th on the field, is now working in the lead as lap number 4 is being worked at this time. Kyle Konzer, car number 27, in the second spot, running 3rd in the 09 car. It'll be Adam Wright. And the battle we've been watching is watching Anthony Lazaro. There you see him in that blue, yellow, and red Jackaroo barbecue sauce car, the defending Hooters Formula Cup champion. He is up and running in the 4th position, now challenging for 3rd on Adam Wright in the 09 car.
I was just watching the 99 car of Alan May, who's won 3 races so far this year. He was real loose several times. I don't know whether he's getting on the throttle too hard coming off the turns, trying to make up too much racetrack at one time, but that car seems awful loose.
Well, as you said at the top of the show, these guys are pretty much running flat out around the Speedway. They really don't have to lift off the throttle. These cars are powered by 2,000cc, pretty much stock production, 4-cylinder Ford engines, Mark Bishardi.
Yes, and they run identical motors. We've
got trouble on the front straightaway. It's the 45 car spinning, and we have got styrofoam bouncing down the front straightaway. As we had a car make heavy contact into the wall, another car involved, the 95 car pulling away on the inside. But it looked like the brunt of that impact taken by car number 45. And that's John Calcutt, who started in the 5th spot. The 95 car also got into the styrofoam. Mark Cruz at the back of the pack, and he was able to pull away. And Mark Bishardi, that styrofoam, as you said before, just exploded on the front straightaway. And for those of you that are not familiar with the foam blocks that are used here at Flemington Speedway, they do have foam blocks up against the steel guardrails. And here we have we were going to have an instant replay. I'm sure they'll have that coming up here in just a second. But they have styrofoam blocks around the steel guardrails here at Flemington Speedway. It serves 2 purposes: to protect the driver from a serious injury and protect that car from being damaged. And on the 45 car, all 4 wheels are still on the John Calcutt automobile, so those styrofoam blocks did their job, Mark.
I didn't see the accident when it happened, but we looked up and it looked like it was snowing into the grandstands with much foam that was coming up here. But looking at the car, his wheels are packed with styrofoam, so he had to have hit it pretty flat. All 4 wheels are still there, so hopefully everything will be all right. He may not race again tonight.
Okay, we're going to take a look at the replay of the incident on the front straightaway as they clean the racetrack up. There you can see that foam still out there. The car's hitting it, bouncing it up in the air. And it does look like a blizzard on the front straightaway as those styrofoam blocks coming upon it. But it was spectacular. I think the styrofoam blocks kind of add to it a little bit as far as spectacular. So it gives us a good shot. It protects the drivers and protects the cars. And that's the great thing about these styrofoam blocks. They just throw the pieces over the wall. They've got them stacked up in the pit area. They'll be bringing some out to put up against the wall to replace those that were damaged. And we'll be back to racing here shortly as you see them sweeping the front straightaway here at Flemington Speedway. So a lot of innovations that are new here at Flemington Speedway. And as we said at the top of the program, this is one of the oldest short tracks in the country, Mark, as we have cars that have been racing here since 1915. And we have the drivers standing by with Fred Pump. Let's go to the pit area. Okay, and we are having some technical problems down in the pit area, getting that signal up here. We'll get those straightened out. Again, the driver involved, John Calcutt out of Rockford, Illinois, in the Rock River Ford, tagged that styrofoam barrier coming off the fourth turn. And Mark Bishardi, it looked like it broke in about 2 or 3 spots, and the drivers behind him were ducking and weaving and trying to get through the styrofoam, and a couple cars hit that styrofoam and just punted it down the front straightaway.
Well, that's got to be different for a lot of these drivers. I don't think any of them have ever seen the styrofoam walls, the protection walls they put up here, and to be coming down the front straightaway and seeing an explosion like that and white foam going everywhere. But then you think about the drivers. They talked about it before the race. There was a couple cars that went into the foam in practice, and they're out there racing tonight. The worst fear of one of these cars in the open wheel division is guardrails, and that's what we have here tonight, because these open wheels just bite into that guardrail and just destroys the race car.
We saw Ricky Rutt hit the wall head on, and his car was saved because of that, and so he was not injured in that either. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of Hooters Formula Cup action from Flemington Speedway. We'll be right back. Roby Helm and Mark Bishardi back with you at Flemington Speedway in Flemington, New Jersey with the Engine Magic 60 for the Hooters Formula Cup cars. And we just returned to Green Flag Racing with car number 5, Sam Schmidt, on the point in the second spot. It'll be the number 27 car, the pole sitter, Kyle Konzer, and Mark Bishardi. The number 1 car, Anthony Lazaro, the fast qualifier, has moved up into the third spot, and he's beginning to put the pressure on Kyle Konzer for that second spot.
Well, you know he's fast when he set the fast qualifying speed tonight. He's working on Kyle pretty good, so hopefully he can get around. We thought Alan May was going to come through the field pretty quick, which he did, but that car seems to be loose. He's running in the 4th position and can't seem to reel in Anthony Lazaro.
And don't adjust your set, ladies and gentlemen. That is not snow you're seeing on the front straightaway. That is the remains of the styrofoam barriers that were broken during the last caution period, and you can see them when they come down the front straightaway. Mark Bishardi, it looks like we've got a blizzard out here.
A real blizzard. You see it going down the front straightaway from our vantage point. It looks like the wind's blowing snow drifts up into turn 1.
They may have to get the shovels out there before it's all over. Anthony Lazaro in car number 1, still battling with Kyle Konzer for that second spot. Your race leader is Sam Schmidt in car number 5. That's the Arnett Sunglasses Simpson Racing car out of Long Beach, California, Van Diemen chassis. And holding down that second spot, Kyle Konzer out of Waterford, Michigan in car number 27, the K&K Maintenance Van Diemen. And Anthony Lazaro in the Jackaroo Barbie Sauce Van Diemen, car number 1, the defending champion, right there in the 3rd spot. Looks like he's going to try to make a move on the inside, Mark.
Well, that's the first time that Kyle Konzer has drifted up the racetrack. He pushed a little bit, and Anthony Lazaro was there to take advantage of it. Kyle's been running a low line so far this race and was able to block off Anthony Lazaro. Now we have caution on the Speedway.
Caution on the Speedway right as that pass was made for the second spot. A car stalled in turn number 4, and a lot of steam coming out of that automobile. That's the number 3 car of John Renda out of Des Moines, Iowa. And he's climbing out of the car, appears to be okay. So I'm not sure if he hit anything, Mark. It looks like a little bit of damage on the right front corner of the car, and the wing bent over a little bit.
It looks like he might have hit flat, just like everybody seems to be doing so far. They said they were going to be running on the ragged edge. They were going to run flat out. They were going to be skating through the turns, so anything could happen.
And it looks like they broke the radiator on one of the sides of the automobiles. These cars are very similar. They're miniature Indianapolis-type cars, and they run the radiators along the side of the cars in the side pods. And it looked like he might have smacked the wall or something up there and might have punctured one of those radiators.
Well, tonight's show is a unique type show. We've got cars that resemble Indy cars, and we've got late models that resemble the Winston Cup type cars. So you've got two different divisions going two different directions here tonight. A lot of these guys in the Formula 2 cars have aspirations of driving the Indy circuit or the Formula Atlantics or the Indy Lights. Your late model drivers, a lot of them have aspirations of going on to Winston Cup. So you've got a lot of guys that have a chance to move up from this series.
One driver that has aspirations of moving into the late model circuit out of this division is the defending champion, Anthony Lazzaro. He drove in the Hooters Cup late model race 2 weeks ago at Anderson, South Carolina, and looked pretty good. And he said that he's looking forward to making about 3 or 4 more starts before the season ends in November.
Well, he's wanting to change over. He said he had a blast in the late model car. First time he'd ever raced that kind of car. It's a little heavier than what he's used to. It doesn't react like these cars do. These cars react real quick. But he enjoyed it so much that next year he wants to race late models.
And we're going to go to a break, so we'll be right back with more of the 60-lap Hooters Formula Cup event here at Flemington Speedway. We'll be right back. Flemington, New Jersey. I'm Roby Hell, Mark Bishardi alongside, and we are working lap number 27 of a scheduled 60 laps for the Hooters Formula Cup cars. We are under caution. The number 3 car having a problem up in turn 4, John Renda out of Des Moines, Iowa. They've towed the car off to the pits, put some Speedy Dry down on the water that he left behind, and the field forming up for the restart. Your race leader in car number 5 is Sam Schmidt out of Long Beach, California, the Arnett Sunglasses Simpson Racing Van Diemen. In the second spot, it's car number 27, the pole sitter, Kyle Konzer out of Waterford, Michigan, the K&K maintenance car. Anthony Lazzaro, car number 1, the defending Hooters Formula Cup champion in the Jackaroo Barbie Sauce Van Diemen, running in the third spot. And Mark Bishardi moving up into the 4th position, and we are expecting a good battle between Lazzaro and this driver, Alan May, car number 99 out of Dallas, Texas. Alan has won the last 2 events on the Hooters Formula Cup trail.
Well, between Alan May and Anthony Lazzaro, they've won the majority of the races. Most races seem to come down to those 2 drivers. Alan May seems to be quick right now, but he seems to be a little loose. He said that before the night's over, their tire wear is going to make a major factor in this race. So he may have set the car up a little loose, figuring it was going to tighten up before the night's over, the racetrack cool down, and come to him, because he is pretty loose right now, but he's fast.
Boy, he certainly is, and he's going to be one to watch. And when we go back to green, and I think they're going to get the 1 to go signal next time by. So Sam Schmidt, he's been out in front, but the battle we've been watching is Kyle Konzer in the 27 car and the number 1 car, Anthony Lazzaro. And Lazzaro was in a hurry because I'm sure that his spotters have been telling him that Alan May is coming in the 99 car, and he had tried to get underneath Konzer right when we went to the caution flag.
In this series, they go back to the last completed laps. The scorers keep it on the track that way, so they have to go back to scoring to find out who is in what position. So the pass was incomplete. We expected Sam Schmidt to go to the front. He was your 2nd fastest qualifier, and he started in the 4th position. So it's pretty well playing out the way we figured it would, with Sam Schmidt jumping to the point, being chased by Anthony Lazzaro and Alan May.
Field has been given the 1 to go signal from starter Tony Boswell, so we'll look for him to unfurl that green flag this time by. And we are working lap number 30. We're coming up on the halfway point as the laps under caution do count in Hooters Cup and Hooters Formula Cup racing, all except the final 10 laps, which will be run under the green. But as Mark explained, under scoring, they do go back to the last completed lap to realign the field. Race leader Sam Schmidt picks up the pace in turn 4. The green flag is out. They'll get the green flag and the halfway signal at the same time as they race back into turn 1. And Anthony Lazzaro trying to work underneath Kyle Konzer as they come off the second turn. He's there. Alan May also right there in the white car, number 99.
Seems like that The one car had a little bit of a push, pushed up the racetrack right on the start. I don't know whether he got enough heat into his tires, but Lazaro took advantage of it. Now Alan May takes advantage of it, and we have another car trying to take advantage of Kyle Conzer.
And Kyle Conzer trying to hold off a host of automobiles behind him, but Anthony Lazaro is on the move, trying to chase down the race leader, Sam Schmidt, in car number 5. And Mark Bishardi, it looks like he's closing in about a car length a lap in a couple of laps. In fact, maybe before that, here he comes. He'll be right up on the race leader, Sam Schmidt.
And we're fixing to have a real battle for the lead. I know Sam Smith's running a true line around this racetrack, one that they like, where you drift high to the walls, you let your momentum carry you. But Anthony Lazaro has really reeled him in, but he's pinching the car off in the turns, trying to get under him. I don't know whether that's the fast line around this racetrack.
We will soon find out as Anthony Lazaro is in a position to challenge Sam Schmidt for the lead. And Alan May, car number 99, is running in the 3rd spot. So a pair of drivers, they've each won 3 events this season on the Hooters Formula Cup circuit. Anthony Lazaro and Alan May trying to work their way up behind the race leader, Sam Schmidt, in car number 5. And Mark, as you were saying, it looks like Anthony Lazaro tried to pinch that car off down on the inside, and he was right up with Schmidt, but it looks like he may have lost a couple of car lengths.
Well, talking to anybody who's ever raced this racetrack since it's been paved, they call this the momentum track. You've got to keep the RPMs up on the car, and that's what your leader is doing. He's keeping the car, letting it float out to the outside, cutting it off in the turns. Lazaro's trying to pinch the car off, which means he's scrubbing speed off the car every time he tries to go low. He's got the tires heated up. He's had to back off and let the tires cool down and maybe make another run at Sam.
And one thing that may come into play here in a couple more laps, Mark, is lap traffic. As we were saying before, these cars are pretty much, the drivers are running them flat out around the speedway. They're not even cracking the throttle of these 4 cylinders, pretty much stock Ford engines. So, as you say, a momentum racetrack. If you have to crack the throttle, you lose some of that momentum. They're coming up on lap traffic now, and this may play a role in the battle for the lead. Here comes Lazaro, and he goes to the outside of lap traffic, so nothing changing hands there. So it looked like they both chose to go to the outside.
Well, I talked to Alan May before the race started tonight, and he said that being this is a momentum racetrack, he was going to try to use as much lap traffic to his advantage as he could. Doesn't seem like he's catching the leaders now to take advantage of that, but he said lap traffic using as a pick would be the key to this race.
They really haven't encountered any heavy traffic yet, but there's a possibility that they could in maybe the next 10 laps or so. And that's getting pretty close to the end of this event as we have 41 laps in the books of the 60-lapper here for the Hooters Formula Cup cars. Sam Schmidt is your leader with Anthony Lazaro in second, breathing right down his tailpipe. And coming up on some more lap traffic in turn number 2, there looks like they're going to go to the high side.
Well, that was the move he needed to make. The slower cars need to stay at the bottom.
We've got trouble in turn number 1. A car into the styrofoam blocks hard, collecting another automobile up there. There you see John Jernigan Jr. in the number 8 car. Jernigan hit the guardrail after the foam blocks had been scattered. So there you can see what the damage is when they hit the steel guardrail. By the time Jernigan got there, a car had already hit the wall in turn number 1, and those blocks were not there when John Jernigan got there, and he made heavy contact with the steel guardrail. There you see the car up in the upper left-hand corner of your screen that started the incident and hit those blocks, scattering them, and then Jernigan got into trouble. He spun and hit the wall head-on with the front end of that automobile. So the safety crews are on their way to check on John Jernigan. We do see him talking to the officials. He is now beginning to move around in the race car. So that is a good sign, Mark Bishardi, because at first it didn't look like he was moving around too much, but he is talking to the officials. He's trying to unhook the safety harnesses in the car.
Well, it's always good to see a driver trying to move around to try to get out of a race car. It means he's conscious. He knows what's going on around him. It's going to be anxious to see if he gets out and walks away from this, because what's dangerous about these cars are like Indy cars. Your feet are up there within the wheels, and he hit that wall a ton.
He most certainly did, and we're going to go to an instant replay of this in slow motion and see if we can take a look at this and find out what exactly happened. We did see the first car go into the wall, scattering those blocks, and we are in turn number 1. There you see Jernigan coming off the wall in the 8 car amongst those styrofoam blocks in turn number 1. And the car that started it going out of your picture up in the upper left-hand corner, that was the first car that made contact. And Mark, I looked up and just saw it happen in turn number 1, and it looked like that the white car involved up there hit the wall and hit it sideways, hit it with the right side wheels, and then Jernigan spun around and got into it head on after the block had left the scene after the white car had hit it up there. And we just received some good news that both drivers are okay.
Oh, that's great. That's a scary moment when you see somebody sitting in a car and can't get out. You hope that he's not hurt, but I just love to see him walk away.
And they're still working with Jernigan over there. The word we got, he is okay, so that's good news. So we'll come back and discuss this some more, but right now we are going to take a break and be right back from Flemington, New Jersey. Back with you from Flemington Raceway. Flemington Speedway, a historic 5/8 mile square oval. Here we are just between Philadelphia and Newark, New Jersey. And the field is now under a red flag condition for the accident involving that car, the number 8 car of John Jernigan. One other car involved. We did not catch the number of that car. So, but it looks like both drivers are okay. As we went to you saw out of Blaine Van Dien, and both drivers are okay. So the cleanup continues up in the short chute between turns 1 and 2. They have a big vacuum sweeper up there trying to sweep up the remains of the styrofoam blocks that were destroyed in that incident. And you can see the cars down on the front straightaway getting set for the restart. We are under a red flag condition. They have told the drivers to start those cars back up, so they should be rolling shortly as the cleanup continues up in turns number 1 and 2. We have 43 laps in the books when the red flag came out of 60 laps. Complete will make a race in the Hooters Formula Cup car. Sam Schmidt is your race leader in car number 5. But Mark Bishardi, he has had a rear view mirror full of Anthony Lazaro in car number 1 in the Jackaroo Barbie Sauce Van Diemen.
Anthony's been there the last 10 to 15 laps, working everything he can to try to get around him. But Sam's just running a good, clean line. He's letting the car slide. He's letting it float. He's just letting the momentum of the car take care of itself, just driving it where it needs to be driven. Anthony Lazaro, on the other hand, is trying to pinch the car off. He's trying to get it to go underneath of Sam, and it just won't go there. It just won't work. He's scrubbing too much speed off, and Sam Schmidt just seems to be driving away from him when he does it. So we're just going to have to wait and see whether now the tires on every car is cooled down. We'll have to wait and see whether that's going to make a difference, whether they get enough heat into the tires. But going back to that wreck that we just saw, that was a classic. It showed you exactly what happens with these styrofoam barriers. We saw a car hit on the front straightaway, hit a ton, and they towed it off, and all 4 wheels were still on the race car. That car there, the styrofoam had been removed by another car, and he hit it and destroyed a race car.
And we're going to take another break, and we'll be right back with the restart of our Hooters Formula Cup cars on lap number 43. We'll be right back. From Flemington Speedway in Flemington, New Jersey, the Engine Magic 60 for the Hooters Formula Cup cars. The Hooters Cup late models will be coming out with the Engine Magic 100 at the completion of our Formula Cup race. Cars are getting lined up to go back to green flag action after a spectacular crash in the short chute between turns 1 and 2. And one of those cars involved John Jernigan. The car suffered heavy damage, but the styrofoam blocks put in as a safety feature here at Flemington Speedway doing their job. Both drivers involved in that crash did walk away. Your leader is Sam Schmidt in car number 5, the second fastest qualifier, started 4th on the field, took over on lap 3 in car number 5, and has led the In tire distance from there, we are working lap number 43, so we'll be beginning lap 44 when we go back to green flag action after a red flag on the speedway. Anthony Lazaro, car number 1. The Jackaroo Barbie Sauce car number 1 is in the second spot. He's the defending champion of the Hooters Formula Cup Series. And Alan May in car number 99 holding down the third spot. Mark Bishardi, we talked about the condition of these tires. They've been under red. You talked about them cooling the tires down. Where is Alan May going to fit into this equation with Sam Schmidt and Anthony Lazaro up in front of him as we get the 1-to-go signal?
Well, right now it seems like maybe he's got what he needed. He needed to catch up with the leaders. A caution would have done it. The red flag has done it. It's going to be interesting to see who can get the heat back in the tires quicker than the other ones.
And they're working hard to get the heat back in those tires as you see them working the cars back and forth on the back straightaway. Now they fall into single file formation for the restart as they are now in turn number 3. They'll be rolling through the short chute between turns 3 and 4 as the pace car is in. Sam Schmidt picks up the pace in car number 5. Tony Boswell waves the green flag, and we are back racing with the Hooters Formula Cup cars with 43 laps in the books. Anthony Lazaro running second in car number 1, trying to stay with the race leader. And Mark Bishardi, it looks like Alan May. It looks like he's going to stay with Anthony Lazaro, and this could develop into one whale of a battle.
Well, I would love to see all 3 of them get up there and race together, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen right now. As we proved earlier, it's easy to catch the leader, but it's hard to get around him, which is what Alan May is going to have a problem with, getting around Lazaro, and Lazaro is going to have trouble getting around Schmidt.
Mark, with 3 caution flags, we haven't seen one thing that we thought would play a role in the outcome of this race, and that's lap traffic. The race leaders have pretty much had clear racetrack in front of them throughout the event.
I don't think lap traffic is going to play much of a role in this race, and I don't think the tires that they thought was going to be a big role in this race because they haven't had enough green flag laps to really heat the tires up.
Sam Schmidt out in front in car number 5, and Mark, it looks like he's opened up about a 5-car length advantage now over Anthony Lazaro.
He's just real smooth. He's driving the line. He wants to drive. Nothing is taking him out of sync, and Lazaro's just having trouble catching him.
It looks like a lot of the drivers are taking a little bit of a lower line down the short chute between turns 1 and 2 because we had an awful lot of styrofoam debris up there, and I don't think the drivers are taking any chances. But just as we say that Sam Schmidt has pulled out to a big lead, Anthony Lazaro has reloaded the Jackaroo Barbie Sauce Van Diemen number 1, and he is closing in on the leader.
We'll have to wait and see whether he can get around him. It may be the same scenario we had before where he just scrubs off too much speed trying to get around him.
Anthony Lazaro in the red, yellow, and blue Jackaroo Barbie Sauce number 1 Van Diemen. Sam Schmidt, the black number 5 Arnett Sunglasses Simpson Racing Van Diemen out of Long Beach, California. Anthony Lazaro out of Ackworth, Georgia. The number 1 car, they're battling it out as they begin to pull away from the 3rd place car. The number 99 car of Alan May out of Dallas, Texas. The Coleman D'Agostino Racing Van Diemen. We're now working lap number 50, Mark, and we've got 10 laps to go in this one as the leaders begin to work around some of the back markers in the field.
That would probably be the only car that they'll come up on as the leaders, the way it looks to me. That car is way off the pace compared to everybody else. This race was originally supposed to be 100 laps, but these cars couldn't run 100 laps on the gas tanks that they have. They would run out of fuel before the race was over, so that's why we're running a 60-lap race tonight.
Run out of fuel and still have about 2 to 3 gallons left in those 5-gallon fuel tanks because this race is relatively flat. There's not much banking here, and with the G-forces as they go around the turns, all that fuel wants to stay in the right-hand side of the tank and not be coming into the pickup tube.
Right, they have a center pickup on these cars, and some of them are wanting to try to change it to get a lower pickup on it, but they couldn't change it for this race.
The lap's beginning to wind down, now less than 10 to go as they're working lap number 54. Sam Schmidt, your leader in car number 5. Anthony Lazaro, car number 1, running in second. Anthony has been able to get close, but he really hasn't been able to get the nose of car number 1 up underneath that black number 5 of Sam Schmidt. working turn number 2 as they head down the back straightaway here at Flemington Speedway. This track has been in operation racing automobiles since 1915. For a number of those years, it was dirt. It was paved in 1992. And now we're seeing the Hooters Formula Cup cars, and in a few minutes we will see the Hooters Cup late models in action, as you'll get to see the top late model stars in the country battle it out for 100 laps, and that'll be coming up immediately after our Hooters Formula Cup series. So Sam Schmidt, your leader in car number 5. Anthony Lazzaro, do you think Anthony may be trying to measure him up a little bit for maybe a last lap pass?
He could be, or else Sam Smith's just starting to open it up. He may have been saving the race car till the end in case Lazzaro tried anything on him. Now he's just pulling away.
And David Elliott, a little bit of smoke coming out of his car as he works around the speedway. Sam Schmidt going around the outside of lap traffic. And Mark, it looks like we've got 2 laps to go. It looks like that Schmidt has been able to hit that lap traffic to his advantage and get Lazzaro at a disadvantage, trying to work his way around that traffic as he is pulled. We've got trouble in turn number 1. A car spinning up in turn 1. And it looks like it is the number 96 car, Jarrett Schrader.
Well, Jarrett had trouble in practice today. That was one of the cars we talked about that got into the foam in practice. They were able to put the car back together and come out and race tonight.
And one car putting an awful lot of smoke out there. It looks like that may be the 95 car of Mark Cruz, and he was involved in that incident on the front straightaway, was able to pull away from it, but he was able to get around that, and some smoke coming out of there. I'm not sure if he might have been putting some oil down on the speedway, causing the 96 car of Schrader to spin in turn 1.
Well, as slick as this racetrack is, they say it's not very abrasive at all. Any kind of oil or fluids on the racetrack would cause anybody to spin out.
And what this has done, it's going to set up a 3-lap dash to the finish. 57 laps in the books. The last 10 laps of Hooters Cup races, whether it be the Formula Cup or the Hooters Cup late models, the last 10 laps are run under green. Before that, the laps do count under the caution. So they are staging them up for a 3-lap dash to the finish. Sam Schmidt is on the point. Anthony Lazzaro in second. And it looks like that Alan May, the 99 car, in third. Kyle Konzer runs fourth in car number 27. And moving up into the 5th spot will be the number 20 car of Mimo Gidley out of San Rafael, California, in the DSTP Motorsports Van Diemen. One thing that I was watching as the leaders were working through lap traffic, Mark Bouchard, it looked like Sam Schmidt could hit that traffic just right and not have to get off the throttle to get around that lap traffic, whereas Lazzaro was catching it at a bad time and maybe had to crack the throttle a little bit.
Well, that's the luck of racing. It also, your leader always has the advantage with the move-over flag. Those cars know that the leader is coming up behind them. They may not know that Anthony Lazzaro is there. They don't really have mirrors on these cars that they can really see. They can see beside them, but not really that far behind them.
So the field forming up once again for the restart. The 96 car of Jarrett Schrader did not hit anything up in turn 1. The car did a quick 360 and he kept going, so he did not get into those styrofoam barriers, so not much cleanup needed for this one. So the field is under caution behind the pace car. They are forming up for a 3-lap dash to the finish. And how do you think this one is going to work out, Mark Bouchardi?
It's going to be tough on Lazzaro to get around Schmidt the way Schmidt's been getting these restarts. He's been real smooth. He hasn't made a mistake so far tonight. So Lazzaro may be pressing to try to get around Schmidt. So we may see something exciting here. Lazzaro's going to have to press the envelope to try to get around him.
Boswell, he has been flagging races since he was a teenager down at Auburndale Speedway in Auburndale, Florida. Up in the flag stand, the official starter of the Hooters Cup Series and the Hooters Formula Cup Series, giving the field the signal with that furled green flag. If everything looks good, we'll go green this time around. 3 laps to go, as well, maybe 2 laps to go. Looks like we got 58 up on the board now. As you can see, the race leader, Sam Schmidt, moving that black number 5 car, the Arnett Sunglasses Simpson Racing Van Diemen out of Long Beach, California, back and forth, getting those heat up in the tires. The Jackaroo Barbie Sauce Van Diemen car number 1, Anthony Lazzaro in the 2nd spot. And then the 27 car, Kyle Konzer, looks like he has moved up around Alan May in the 99 cars. The green flag comes out, and we're back to racing. Sam Schmidt races into turn number 1 through the short chute, now through turn number 2. They'll head down the back straightaway here at the 5/8 mile Flemington Speedway. Sam Schmidt opens up a 4-car length advantage by the time they get to turn 4. Coming down, the white flag is out, 1 lap to go, and it doesn't look like that Lazaro is going to be able to catch Sam Schmidt, but he's got 2 cars right on his tail with Kyle Conzer in the 27 car, Alan May in the 99.
Well, he's already decided he can't go for the lead, so he's going to have to guard his position. He got as good a jump as you could get on the leader, but the leader just pulled away from him.
And Sam Schmidt will take the checkered flag in the 60-lap Hooters Formula Cup event. It'll be Anthony Lazaro in the 2nd spot in car number 1, and Kyle Conzer with a good run tonight in car number 27 comes home in the 3rd spot. The 4th place car will be the 99 car of Alan May out of Dallas, Texas. So Sam Schmidt, like you said, Mark, doing a great job tonight. Did not make any mistakes, had some tough competition behind him, and he comes home with his first victory of the 1995 Hooters Formula Cup Series here at Flemington Speedway. And it's got to feel good to be able to put your name up on the wall. I mean, you talk about history. They've got history all over this place, Mark Bishardi. They've got museums, I think, in every nook and cranny of this speedway.
The Speedway has 3 different museums you can go through that shows a lot of the old cars that they've raced here. So Sam Schmidt puts himself in a position to be among those type drivers. He's worked hard to get here, and now he's here.
And Sam Schmidt coming in from Long Beach, California, climbing out of the Arnett Sunglasses Simpson Racing Van Diemen. And Fred Pump standing by in the front straightaway. We'll wait for him to get that helmet off, get those gloves off, and catch his breath a little bit. It's been very hot here in New Jersey the last couple days with some high humidity, and I know those drivers have been working on getting a lot of fluids in them before these races here.
It's been very humid up here. We've had rain almost every day. Tonight it looks like we may get through this one without it. Let's cross our fingers and hope we do.
And once again, Fred Pump standing by with our race leader. Let's go down to victory lane. Fred Pump with Sam Schmidt.
Thank you very much. We're always standing down here with Sam Schmidt, fan of the flying country tonight, the first ever Formula Cup victory. We got to take the crew. The guys at Team Atlanta. Car was absolutely perfect. I could go anywhere, do anything. Fluids. We got Corpus, Jackaroo, sponsors.
And Sam Schmidt having some problems with the audio down in the winner's circle, talking with Fred Pump. And Mark, we can hear it a little bit on the PA, but he is a very happy winner indeed.
Yeah, they just mentioned this was his first ever win in this series, so you know he has to be happy.
And he's down in victory lane, and again we apologize for the audio problems with the microwave relay, and he's going to pick up a pretty good chunk of change for this win, as I believe that they're racing for about $10,000 to win out there.
That's about half of what a used one of these cars would cost, so that's a pretty good paycheck for this type of racing.
Yeah, some of the prices that I got in the pit area for a used Van Diemen is about $38,000. So we've got another race coming up here with the Hooters Cup late models, and I'm excited about this one, Mark, because we've got the top late model short track drivers in the country getting set to do it for 100 laps, and we'll be back with that right after these messages. And we're back at Flemington Speedway in Flemington, New Jersey. And we have just seen Sam Schmidt come home with the win in the Hooters Formula Cup 60-lap event. And now we're getting set for the late models as they will be teeing it up for 100 laps of racing. And Mark Bishardi, it's going to be a good one.
We've got a unique situation tonight, which is going to make this very exciting. We've got a dozen local cars here tonight that run the 12-to-1 motor with 2-barrel carburetors. That's their normal race engine here. The Hooters cars run a 9-to-1 motor with a 394-barrel, but they're both running against each other tonight. The local drivers tell you this is a momentum track. The Hooters Cup drivers want it to be a horsepower track. So it's going to be interesting watching both these two types of cars running different lines tonight and see what the advantage is.
And we want to remind you that tonight's event brought to you by Hooters, home of nearly world-famous chicken wings, by Jackaroo Barbie Sauce. It's not just for barbecue anymore. By Naturally Fresh Salad Dressing, nature's finest ingredients blended naturally. Pour it on. By Red Dog Beer, bold yet smooth, unusually easy to drink, and you are your own dog. And by Goodyear, #1 in racing, #1 in tires. Field getting lined up on the racetrack. Historic 5/8 mile square-shaped oval here at Flemington Speedway. They've been racing cars on this track since 1915. It was dirt for many, many years. The track was paved in 1992, and the cars lined up behind the pace car. Here's your starting lineup coming up. And we have on the pole position Larry Raines out of Cummings, Georgia. On the outside of row #1, we've got Mario Goslin in car #10. Lake Wales, Florida, the running a Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Starting in row #2. Starting on the inside in car #74, it'll be Jeff Burkett out of Lake Mary, Florida. And on the outside of the second row in car #92 from Wildwood, Florida, the king of the Florida short tracks and the Mopar Performance Dodge Avenger, it'll be Dick Anderson. Third row on the inside, car #71, the Emerald Coast Racing Engine Chevrolet Monte Carlo out of Dalton, Georgia. It'll be Bobby Gill in car #71. On the outside of row 3, car #91, Mike Garvey out of Stockbridge, Georgia, the Maccabee Contractors Chevy Monte Carlo. Fourth row on the inside, in car #21, it'll be Jimmy Matthews, Bridgewater, New Jersey, the Camelot Show Chevrolet. On the outside of row 4, in car #38, the leading rookies on the circuit, John Crow out of Harrisburg, North Carolina, driving the Jackaroo Barbie Sauce Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Fifth row on the inside, in car #1, it'll be Phil Cox out of Ringgoes, New Jersey, in the Store Tractor Machine. Starting on the outside of row 5 in car #7 out of Hialeah, Florida, driving the Naturally Fresh Salad Dressing Chevrolet Monte Carlo, Daryl Shelnut in the 7 car. In the 6th row on the inside, the 1A car, it'll be Fred Orchard out of Chester, New Jersey, in the A1 Chevrolet. Outside of row 6 in car #82, it'll be John Blewett out of Howell, New Jersey, in the Flowtech engine car. 7th row on the inside in car #98, 6-time national late model champion out of Chatsworth, Georgia, in the Fiber 1 car, it'll be Jody Ridley. On the outside of in the 7th row in car #12, it'll be Steve Christian out of Sugar Hill, Georgia, the Norcross Auto Machine. In row #8 on the inside, Charlie Fawn Jr., car #9 out of Layton, Pennsylvania. On the outside of row #8 in car #15, the Jackaroo Barbie Sauce Chevrolet Monte Carlo out of Pinellas Park, Florida, Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Coe. Row #9 on the inside, the 06 car, Don Davis Jr. out of Gainesville, Georgia. Outside of him in the 7A car, it'll be Jim Weismer Jr. In row #10 on the inside, Randy Fox, car #4, the Wayne Bowes Tomatoes Hooters Chevrolet Monte Carlo out of Fort Myers, Florida. Outside of him, it'll be Armin Hess Jr., a hometown boy out of Flemington, New Jersey. In the 11th row on the inside in car #75, it'll be Armin Hess Jr. Outside of him in the inside of the 11th row, the 18 car Ronnie Sanders out of Fayetteville, Georgia. And the outside of the 11th row, car #6, will be John Stengel Jr. out of Bridgewater, New Jersey. Row #12 on the inside in car #87, it'll be Kenny Imler. Outside of him in the 07 car, David Witt. 13th row on the inside, Nevin Jenkins in the 3R car. Outside of him, it'll be Russ France in the 110. In the 14th row on the inside, Clyde Cox III in car #35. Outside of him in car #14, it'll be John Strangle Sr. In the 15th row on the inside, Joe Nagel in car #20. Outside of him, Joe England Jr. in the 127. In the 16th row on the inside, in car #11, it'll be Bill Tinsman. Outside of him in car #95, it'll be Joe Jarkowitz. And rounding out the field in the 33rd starting spot, in car #57, the Nikon Optics Chevrolet Camaro out of Haines City, Florida, it'll be Marilyn McCrary. That's your starting lineup, 33 cars strong for tonight's Hooters Cup Late Model Race. It's going to be a good one, Mark Bishardi.
Yes, it is. Like I talked about before, you got a lot of locals that know this racetrack really well, but they've only been racing late models for the past 3 years on this track. Then you've got a lot of experience out there in Dickie Anderson, Mike Garvey, Bobby Gill, Daryl Shelnut. You got Jody Ridley. These guys know how to get around any racetrack. So you're going to find out who can handle this the best. The locals who know it, or the guys that know how to set up a race car anywhere.
Well, that's exactly right. There you see Dick Anderson in car number 92, one last time out at Anderson, South Carolina, his first win of the season, and he has had a lot of bad luck, but it looks like he has put that behind him with the win at Anderson, and he has been racy here all yesterday during practice and all day today.
Well, for you Dodge fans, this is somebody you may want to watch. This is a Dodge Avenger. He's the only one that he keeps having a few little problems with this car, but as we said last race, that car was fast. It's fast every race, but the bugs have bit him. So maybe he can make it 2 in a row here at Flemington Speedway.
And Larry Raines up on the pole position in car number 37. He has Mario Gosselin outside of him, and Mario had a good run at Anderson, South Carolina with a second-place finish, ran up front all night, and Mario has looked fast as well after he found out where the styrofoam barriers were early in practice yesterday.
Right, he had a little problem. He got into the barriers down in turn 3, but a few pop rivets, and that car was back together. You can't even tell what happened to it. In Anderson, he had a great run. He finished second, had a chance to take the lead when Mike Garvey missed a gear, but he got into Garvey, and Dick Anderson went around him and went on to the win.
And we've got about 2 laps to go before we go to green flag action. The fans are on their feet waving to the drivers with their hands out the window, waving back to this packed grandstand here at Flemington Speedway in Flemington, New Jersey. There you can see the starter, Tony Boswell, waving to the drivers as they go by, because the next time they come around, Tony's not going to be waving at them. He's going to be showing them the 1 to go signal as these cars will get ready to take the green flag for 100 laps of racing. Again, Larry Raines up on the pole position out of Cumming, Georgia in car number 37, the Palmetto Tractor car, or Palmetto Trading Chevrolet Monte Carlo, car number 37, Mario Gosselin. Mario looking for a major sponsor this season.
Mario's had a good consistent run this year. He's in the top 5 in points. Hasn't finished real great, but he finishes good every race. He's looking for that sponsor. He'd love to put a sponsor on the side of that car to make it easier to go to these races. On the inside, you have Larry Raines. We talked about him. Larry is no stranger to this type of racing. He's been a champion in several different series, so maybe he can put a win on the boards tonight.
And the field bunching up for the start. The lights out on the Flemington Speedway pace car. Larry Raines and Mario Gosselin at the head of the field. Behind them, Jeff Burkett out of Lake Mary, Florida in car number 74. Dick Anderson starting 4th in the Dodge, car number 92, the Mopar Performance Automobile. And are we going to be seeing, as you said, 2 different grooves where the outside might have the advantage over the inside?
Local drivers, they think the outside is the place to run. They think it's a momentum track. If you have to crack the throttle at all, more than you want to, if you run up on the back of another car, you've lost momentum. Here we go to the green flag.
And the green flag is down. We're racing. It'll be Larry Raines on the inside. Mario Gosselin on the outside has the advantage. He'll grab the lead coming off the second turn. Dick Anderson brings the 92 Dodge up into the 3rd spot. Mario Gosselin opening up about a 3-car length advantage over Larry Raines in car number 37. Dick Anderson right on his back bumper. Mike Garvey will run 4th in car number 91. Here comes Dick Anderson to the inside of Larry Raines in car number 37. They'll go wheel to wheel down the back straightaway into turn 3. Dick Anderson on the move, Mark.
Well, this is the type of racing everybody loves to see when they watch racing, when they run side by side. Dick Anderson got the move on Larry Raines when he pushed up. He pushed up again, and Mike Garvey's going to take advantage of him.
Mike Garvey was the fast qualifier tonight in car number 97, but they do draw for their starting spots. So Garvey came from the 6th starting spot, has charged his way up into 3rd spot, and now he begins to pull up on the back bumper of Dick Anderson in car number 92. And Mark Bishardi, no love lost between Dick Anderson and Mike Garvey this season on the Hooters Cup Tour.
Well, Dick Anderson is the old pro. He's been around for years. Mike Garvey is the up-and-comer. He is a great race car driver. He's smooth, he's consistent, and he's a threat to Dickie Anderson at any racetrack he goes to. I don't know whether it's a personality problem or not, but it's just that these 2 drivers drive hard, and they both want to win.
They have swapped paint and traded sheet metal all season long. Both drivers have been, I guess, reprimanded, so to speak, by the Hooters Cup officials. And there you can see the remains of some of the broken styrofoam down on the front straightaway, blowing up out of the groove as the field blasts by that area at the end of the front straightaway. Mario Gosselin out in front, but Mark Bishardi now, he has a rear view mirror full of Dick Anderson and Mike Garvey. Looks like Anderson wants to make a move on the inside.
You have a lot of experience in Anderson and Garvey on the back bumper of Mario Gosselin, who's had 3 years, 4 years of this type of racing, but has proved to everybody he can run with them. He's not intimidated, but you're going to have to wait and see how much experience, and now we have Dickie Anderson showing the way.
Looked like the 10-car Gosselin slipped up in turn number 2. That opened the door for Dick Anderson. He moved underneath, and now Dick Anderson picking it up where he left off 2 weeks ago at Anderson Speedway in Anderson, South Carolina. He is out in front in the Hooters Cup event, coming up on the back of Marilyn McCurry's number 57 car, and Dick Anderson in heavy lap traffic, Mark Bishardi, as Gosselin closes back in with Mike Garvey in third.
Well, we're going to have a lot of racing in traffic tonight. We've got a lot of late models out here, and a lot of them are slow, a lot of them are fast, and lap traffic is going to be a major role in this race.
Dick Anderson out in front, but we have got a battle behind him as they work in lap traffic. Coming up on the 14 car, the yellow car in front of the leaders. Here comes Gosselin on the outside. He uses the 14 car as a pick and takes the lead from Anderson. You talk about Anderson having the experience, but the youngster out of Lake Wales, Florida just put a move on him.
Well, they got behind one of the local drivers here at Flemington Speedway who didn't make the proper move. Dick thought he was going to go high, pinched Dick Anderson off, and Mario Gosselin just used momentum and went around the outside of him.
He didn't have much room up there on the outside with those styrofoam blocks, and he is out in front, but Anderson trying to reel him back in with the Dodge. I'm sure he's reloading that Mopar, the Mopar Performance Dodge Avenger. Car number 92, we see the Dodge Avengers running in the IROC series, but now we see them on the Hooters Cup Trail with Dick Anderson. He put it in the winner's circle 2 weeks ago, and Mike Garvey in car number 91, he's no stranger to the winner's circle. He's won 3 events this season in the Maccabee Contractors Chevrolet Monte Carlo, car number 1.
Well, Mike Garvey is a winner everywhere he goes. He's originally out of Michigan, but moved south because this is where he thought he wanted to race. And he's been a winner everywhere he's ever been.
Mike Garvey was in front at Anderson 2 weeks ago and missed a shift on a restart, but that was, I guess, because he had more than racing on his mind that night.
Right, his wife came to the racetrack with him. We have trouble in turn 4. We got a car sideways.
Marilyn McCurry. Marilyn McCurry running only her second late model event in the number 97 or number 57 Nikon Optics Pontiac Firebird. So Marilyn getting some experience with a spin in turn number 4. All the drivers doing a good job working on the outside, getting around Marilyn. But again, as we said, this is only her second late model event ever, as she had been running the Hooters Formula Cup cars. And before that, she was a former mini stock state champion down in Florida.
She was excellent in the mini stocks, which is basically the same motor they run in the Hooters Formula 2 cars. She was a threat everywhere she went in Florida to win with the mini stocks. This is a big change for her. She's used to the little quick 4-cylinder motors. Now she's got a powerful V8.
And the field is under caution. We have 14 laps in the books, working lap number 15. Mario Gosselin out in front in car number 10 as he started on the outside the front row in the number 10 automobile, and he is looking for major sponsorship on this car. He's pretty much doing this out of his pocket.
There's several of these guys that are doing it out of their pocket, and it's sad to see that they have to travel this far without sponsorship. These guys are great guys, and every one of them would love for somebody to jump on the side of that car.
Tony Boswell with the caution flag out on the field as they form up for the restart. Marilyn McCurry spinning in turn 4 to bring out the caution flag, and she did not hit anything, or any other cars did not hit any of the styrofoam barriers up there, so she has rejoined the field at the tail of the pack. And the pace car out in front of the field with the leaders over in turn number 3. Mario Gosselin out of Lake Wales, Florida on the point in the second spot. It'll be car number 92, Dick Anderson, the Mopar Performance Dodge Avenger. The Maccabee Contractors Chevrolet Monte Carlo, car number 91 for Mike Garvey in the third spot. Larry Raines, the pole sitter, the Palmetto Training Chevrolet Monte Carlo, is running in the 4th position. And running in 5th, it'll be Bobby Gill in car number 71. Those are your top 5 with 16 laps in the books. We'll be right back after these messages from Flemington Speedway in Flemington, New Jersey. Roby Helm back with you from Flemington Speedway in Flemington, New Jersey. Mark Bishardi alongside as we are working lap number 19 of 100 for the Hooters Cup Late Models. Race number 11 of the 20-race series, and we are getting set to go back to green flag action with Mario Goslin on the point in his number 10 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Dick Anderson out of Wildwood, Florida, running second in the Mopar Performance Dodge Avenger. Mike Garvey, car number 91, the series point leader, the McAfee Contractor Chevrolet Monte Carlo in the third spot as we are back under green flag action. Mario Goslin put a move a couple of laps ago on Dick Anderson in lap traffic, and Mark Bishardi, it looks like Anderson turning up the wick, and he wants to get back around Goslin to grab that lead and get it on the inside on the last time.
Yeah, he moved on the inside of him. Now you got to see whether Goslin's going to try to block that move this time. Goslin was one of the few guys that liked this racetrack right off the truck. Mike Garvey was another. Garvey only ran 3 laps of practice the first day and loved it. So you got 2 guys that loved it, and then Dick Anderson's been here before.
Dick Anderson working on the inside of Mario Goslin, trying to get him to push up on the inside. We've got trouble again with Marilyn McCrary, car number 57, spinning over in turn number 3, and looks like she might have got a piece of the styrofoam up there on the outside of the racetrack, and another car involved, the number 95 car, also involved in that tangle with Marilyn McCrary up in turn at the exit of turn number 3. So that's Joe Jarowitz out of Piscataway, New Jersey in the 95 car. He is up in the styrofoam barriers, and if you were with us for the Formula Cup cars, you saw what a race car can do to those styrofoam barriers. They hit those, and they do serve 2 purposes: to protect the car and protect the driver. So we have got a mess to clean up here at Flemington, New Jersey, and we're going to take a break and be right back with more action from the Engine Magic 100. We'll be right back. Roby Helm back with you from Flemington Speedway in Flemington, New Jersey. The Engine Magic 100 for the Hooters Cup Late Models. We are under a caution period after a tangle involving Joe Jarowitz out of Piscataway, New Jersey, and Marilyn McCrary out of Haines City, Florida in the 57 car. So the field getting set for the restart. Mark Bishardi alongside. And Mark, we want to say hello to a good friend of ours that runs with the Hooters Cup Series, and he's a little bit under the weather. He's one of the top drivers in the point standings, and that's Daniel Keene out of Tampa, Florida, who drives the number 5 car. He's won a race this season on the Hooters Cup Tour. A little bit under the weather and couldn't be here tonight.
Right, Daniel's at home having some tests performed on him right now. He can't be at the racetrack. Daniel's a joy to watch race, and he's fun to be around in the pits. He helps every other driver in the pits. Everybody's going to miss him here tonight.
Well, that certainly is right. As Daniel, we miss you. Get well and get back out here in a hurry. Daniel Keene, who drives the number 5 R.W. Harris Incorporated Chevrolet Monte Carlo for Victor and Robin Powell out of Florida. And he was in the top of the point standing, so we hope that he can get back out here and get back into that point fight. Once again, under caution, working lap number 30 of the scheduled 100 here for the Hooters Cup Late Models. On the point, Mario Goslin in car number 10 out of Lake Wales, Florida. In the second spot, it'll be the number 92 car, the Dodge of Dick Anderson. In the third spot, it'll be Mike Garvey in car number 91. And one car that I've been looking at trying to work its way up through the pack is a guy that looks strong in practice. He started 13th, and I'm talking about the number 98 car, the blue car there in your picture, Jody Ridley, a 6-time national late model champion. And he's running one of the few Fords that we're seeing on this circuit, as it looks like it's mostly predominantly dominated by Chevrolet Monte Carlos.
Jody's had a lot of success over the years. Like you say, he's been national champion several times. He's been to Winston Cup. He's won on Winston Cup. But he's having a bad year this year, and nothing would suit him better than to have a good finish here tonight and maybe get some momentum going into the next few races.
And the next race, for those of you that follow the Hooters Cup Trail, will be coming up on Friday night, August the 11th, from 411 Motor Speedway, located right outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. And that's a track that Jody Ridley has been to before. And I know that everybody in East Tennessee is looking forward to seeing the Hooters Cup late models up there, as the field now forming up for the restart here at Flemington, New Jersey. Going back to green flag action with Mario Goslin out in front. Dick Anderson in second. Mike Harvey in third. Larry Raines, the pole sitter, riding in fourth with Mark Bishardi. It looks like it's been mostly those top three cars pulling away from Raines, with Mario Goslin out in front, Dick Anderson in second, and Mike Harvey in third.
Well, all three of those cars told me during the weekend that they love this racetrack. It was hard to get used to at first. Dickie Anderson had some problems last night. They had to change that motor this morning. So he's in a motor that he's not used to. Didn't hardly get any practice time on it. And now we've got Anderson trying to work the underside of Goslin and complete the move.
He had been looking for an opportunity where Goslin looked like with cold tires, his car pushing up on the high side. As we've got caution on the Speedway, a big pileup in turn number 3 in the short chute between turns 3 and 4. And the 06 car up on top of the 11 car. Looks like we've got about 5 cars involved up there, Mark.
Well, that's a bad scene for the locals. There's 5 of those cars are all local drivers. They all expected to go. We're going to go to replay now. This ought to be exciting.
Boy, it's sure one of those cars involved, the 06 car, and we've got the 35 car. Here we go. We've got it. We got it in instant replay.
It looks like the 11 car got loose. It takes everybody with him. The 10 car, the 9 car, and we'll see the foam in action right here.
Bill Tinsman in the 11 car. Then the 9 car of Charlie Thon Jr. And there's the 06 car. No place to go as he went up over the top. Now the 26 car also getting a piece of that action.
Oh, it's too bad for the locals here tonight. If that was a local feature, they'd almost have to call the race because of all the cars that are involved in it. Every one of these guys felt that they could have a good night here tonight, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
One thing we saw in that it looked like one car was trying to get to the inside of the 11 car, and you were talking about with these 2-barrel carburetors, they prefer the outside groove.
Right, they like to float the car up to the corners to keep their foot in the throttle. They told me that if they have to let out more than they're used to, as if coming up behind another car and having to back off, they lose all the momentum, and it takes 2 to 3 laps to get the momentum back. So it was unusual to see one of the locals trying to go underneath of another car.
Don Davis Jr. out of Gainesville, Georgia, also involved in that. So looked like they had a little Southern hospitality mixed in there with the local guys.
And he came out on top, literally.
Yeah, there you see the wrecker lifting up Davis's car, the 06 car, as that car is sitting on top of the number 11 machine.
And we see a lot of drivers standing around the wreck, just standing looking. So they all must be all right. You love to see that.
Bill Tinsman, the driver of the 11 car out of Frenchtown, New Jersey, involved in that. We also had the 110 car involved, Russ France out of Copley, Pennsylvania. So that's just some of the drivers involved in that massive tangle up in the short chute between 3 and 4. We're going to take another break, and we'll be right back with more from Flemington, New Jersey. With you from Flemington Speedway in Flemington, New Jersey. Roby home with you, Mark Bishardi alongside. We are under caution after a spectacular multi-car accident on the short chute between turns 3 and 4 here in the 100-lap Hooters Cup late model event. We have 34 laps in the books, working lap number 35 with Mario Goslin, your leader, in car number 10. We are under caution for the incident that you are about to see on instant replay, and it was a wild one. Going into turn number 3, the 11 car gets tapped from behind, and Bill Tinsman out of Frenchtown, New Jersey, spins that car along with the number 110 car, a Russ France, the red car on the inside. They collected the number 9 automobile, and then you will see the 06 car, Don Davis Jr. out of Georgia with no place to go. And Davis comes into the 2 cars spinning in front of him, and he goes up and over everybody. And Mark Bishardi, as you said, he ended up on top of that deal.
Right, and what's amazing, some of these cars that were in this wreck are back out on the racetrack. The 9 car is back out. There you see one of your point leaders here locally, number 35, Clyde Cox, involved in it. The locals took a beating in that crash.
Well, they sure did. And Cox just ran out of room as he was trying to get between the 11 and the 110 car and just ran out of room. So when they come back around this time, Tony Boswell will give them the signal with a furled green flag, 1 lap to go. And with the track cleared in the area between turns 3 and 4. Again, this is a square racetrack. There are 4 corners and 4 straightaways. So Mario Gosselin, your race leader in car number 10. Another outstanding run for this young driver. He's the defending champion of the United Stock Car Alliance Series down in Florida. And this year is pretty much his first year of running nationally with the Hooters Cup Series.
Right, he never really traveled outside the state of Florida. He had all the tracks pretty much covered in Florida. He learned them real quick. Now he's trying to do it all over the eastern side of the United States.
And you talk about drivers that know Florida tracks. The king of the Florida short tracks, Dick Anderson, running in the 2nd spot in car number 92. But he's no stranger to Flemington Speedway. He raced here in a modified when the track was dirt before they paved it in 1992.
He says it's been 25 years since he's been to this racetrack, but he has some fond memories of coming up here and racing on the dirt.
Mike Garvey, the point leader in the Hooters Cup Late Model Series, car number 91, the Maccabee Contractor, Chevrolet Monte Carlo, running in the 3rd spot. So you have a Mopar running in 2nd, the Dodge Avenger, a Dick Anderson, in a Chevrolet Monte Carlo sandwich there with Mario Gosselin out in front. Mike Garvey in 3rd as we go back to green flag action. Anderson had just passed Gosselin for the lead before the caution flag came out. And in a situation like we had in the Formula Cup race earlier this evening, they go back to the last completed lap for scoring purposes. So that put Anderson back in behind Gosselin for the restart.
And we just had a little bit of contact between Anderson and Gosselin, which allowed Mike Garvey to move back up into this fray.
And Anderson again trying to work that inside groove. He's got the nose of the Avenger underneath Gosselin. Gosselin gets a push up on the high side, and it looks like Garvey's going to try to work underneath as well.
Right, he's caught up high. The car's pushing. The car does not like the racetrack up there, and he just pushes out of the way. Now he's back in 3rd in 1 lap.
Out in front, Mike Garvey brings the 91 car up into 2nd. Mario Gosselin, car number 10, running in the 3rd spot. And once again, Mark, those top 3 cars are pulled away from the 4th place car, Larry Raines, and he's getting a challenge on the inside from John Crow in car number 38 as they battle for that 4th position.
Right, John Crow's a rookie going against the veteran Larry Raines. Crow has proved himself this year, though, with a win already under his belt in his rookie year.
Anderson with the Mopar out in front. He's looking for his 2nd straight win this year. Had some terrible luck in the first half of the year, but it was Anderson at Anderson Motor Speedway in Anderson, South Carolina 2 weeks ago, giving that Dodge Avenger its first win of the season. And he's trying to pick it up where he left off, but a driver looking for his 4th win on the season is Mike Garvey in the Maccabee Contractor Chevy Monte Carlo, the number 91 car.
Well, Mike Garvey is just so smooth. He knows how to set a car up for a racetrack. He bides his time until the right time to make the move. So I don't believe you'll see any contact between these 2 drivers. They're both professionals, and Garvey will just wait until lap traffic can play to him, or Dick Anderson will use the lap traffic to his advantage like he just did.
Well, Anderson, he waited until the last possible moment to show his hand moving around the lap car, went to the inside. So I think Garvey was kind of waiting to see what move Anderson made. As we are still in the first half of this event as they come down to complete lap number 45 this time around. So still more than half of this race left to go. So Dick Anderson out in front with Mike Garvey in 2nd. And talking to Dick Anderson before the race, he wasn't quite sure how he wanted to set this race car up. He was having a little bit of a pushing problem, in trouble in front of the leaders, and Garvey gets collected. Mike Garvey, the 2nd place car, and it looks like his night may be done.
Oh, he hit that car head on. He was riding behind Anderson, and Anderson made the move, and Garvey couldn't see the car in front of him. That car was sitting straight on in front of him. There you got a view of Mike Garvey. That's your point leader with this circuit this year, and that's a tough break.
Kenny Imler in car number 87 out of East Freedom, Pennsylvania, driving the John Stockley Ford Thunderbird, spinning right in front of the leader, Dick Anderson. Anderson made the move that he had to make, got around, but Mike Garvey, as you said, who was running right on Anderson's back bumper, could not see him and could not make the move and hit that car head on. He's going to be headed to the pit area. to see what kind of repairs they can make to the Maccabee Contractors Chevrolet Monte Carlo car number 91. But Mark, it looked like that it got the radiator, so if they do make a repair on that, it'll put him out of contention.
Right, we're going to replay right now.
There you see the 87 car. No, they're not going backwards on the Speedway. They're going forwards. There you see the 97 car, Imler, spinning in front of Anderson. Garvey tried to go to the inside but couldn't make the car turn fast enough, and bang, he hits Kenny Imler in the 87 car head on down there, and that may put Garvey out of contention on this one.
Well, Garvey's got to work hard on getting that car back out. He is the point leader. He needs to complete as many laps as he can. He has not missed a lap the whole season so far this year. That's why he is the point leader.
Well, I'm not sure how long it would take them to replace a radiator, but one thing that may work to Garvey's advantage is the coolant in the fluid that came out of the radiator of that car. He brought it all the way around the Speedway, and we have got the broom crew out there, so they're putting that speedy dry down. So Garvey's in the pits getting the radiator repaired. We're under red flag now as the car is stopping on the front straightaway. We'll be right back. Roby Helm back with you at Flemington Speedway in Flemington, New Jersey, as we are under a red flag condition on the Engine Magic 100 for the Hooters Cup late models with 47 laps in the books. We are under red because of an oil condition on the racetrack, as it looks like it's oil and coolant from the 91 car of Mike Garvey, who is involved in an incident with the lap car of Kenny Imler, and Fred Pump is down in the pit area standing by with Mike Garvey. Let's find out what happened.
I'm standing here with Mike Garvey. Mike, what happened out there?
Well, a couple of cars in back spun out. I don't know if one of them dropped motor or what, if there's oil, but me and Dickie went in the corner and we seen him spin. I tried to get on the brakes. I couldn't stop the thing. I couldn't get turned. I couldn't do nothing. I drove right straight head on in the 87 car. And it's a shame. I tell you, this Maccabee Contract Supply car was good. I mean, we're just sitting there trying to take our time. Going to start pressuring Dick a little bit, and this stuff happens. So we're just going to try to fix it and get back out there if we can.
Mike, it looked like it was going to be a good race when it came down to the end between yourself and Dick Anderson.
We had a very good car. We were just sitting there, kind of like I said, taking our time. It was a little tight. You know, it's just unfortunate stuff like this happens, but it does, and we'll just try to fix it and get the best we can out of it.
Mike, you're in a points chase. Mario Gosselin's having a good run. He's right behind you in the points, so you're going to try to get it back out there.
Yeah, we are. We're going to fix it, and it didn't hurt anything bad. It just destroyed the radiator. We'll bypass the oil cooler and try to get a radiator put back in this thing and go back out there.
Well, we're going to let Mike Garvey get to work because he's a hands-on driver. He's going to get in there, try to get this car back out there for the remainder of the race, try to pick up as many points as he can.
And once again, we are under a red flag condition. You can see a little steam coming out of Evan Jenkins' number 3 car. The Putronics Chevrolet Monte Carlo is not only hot under the hood of that car, it is hot everywhere here in New Jersey. Mark Bishardi.
Like we talked earlier, it's been real humid. They've had a lot of rain, and we've been lucky today. They predicted rain. We haven't had it yet, so hopefully we can get this one in.
So Dick Anderson will be up on the point in car number 92. Mario Gosselin will move back up into the second spot. Holding down the third spot, a guy to keep your eye on, a young rookie driver originally out of California, now living in Harrisburg, North Carolina, John Crow in the number 38 car. He's got a win on the Hooters Cup Series under his belt this year.
Right, he surprised a lot of people with that win and earned a lot of respect from a lot of people. He was also the Legends National Champion last year, so he's gaining a lot of experience. He loves this type of racing, and he's proving himself.
Running in the 4th spot, the pole sitter Larry Raines, car number 37 out of Cummings, Georgia. And moving up into 5th spot, you can't count this guy out, Bobby Gill out of Dalton, Georgia. We've got another replay of the incident involving Mike Garvey with the 91 car. He was running second to Dick Anderson, and he is the point leader in the Hooters Cup Tour. And this is a replay of the accident we had earlier this evening. There you see a hood blowing off of Garvey's car as he races for the pit area. As you can see, heavy front end damage, but as Garvey reported from the pit area with Fred Pump, it just destroyed the radiator on the car. So with Garvey being the points leader and being involved in that point fight with Mario Gosselin, he's pretty much going to try to get that car back out here. He'll probably be several laps off the pace, Mark Bishardi, but he may be able to come out there and get a good finishing spot, possibly in the top 20, because we haven't even reached the halfway point of this race yet, as we have 47 laps in the book, so we still have 53 laps to go.
Well, looking at that race car, the way it hit, I just hope that by the time he turned it off, how much fluid that he had lost in that engine, whether that engine is going to perform at all the rest of the race, it may break. And I hope for his sake that it doesn't.
And we'll be right back after these messages with the Hooters Cup late models from Flemington, New Jersey. Roby Helm back with you from Flemington Speedway in Flemington, New Jersey. 100 lap Hooters Cup late model event. Now under caution, working lap number 48 of a scheduled 100 lapper. And we have another angle of the incident involving Mike Garvey. So let's take a look at that on slow motion replay. Dick Anderson was the race leader when Kenny Imler in the 87 car spun in front of the leaders. Anderson just got to the outside, and Garvey just had no place to go, hitting that 87 car head on, taking out the radiator of the Maccabee Contractors Chevrolet Monte Carlo. And there you see the hood going up on the 87 car. And Mario Gosselin, he had a close call there too with the 10 car as he just got by on the outside. Another car coming into view, spinning up on the outside of the racetrack. So just to have two cars involved in that, Mark Bishardi, as they say, that is pretty unbelievable.
That was incredible here, because they say when you have a wreck here, like we saw earlier, it takes out 4, 5, 6 cars. And to have it happen in front of the leaders, you got a lot of fast cars coming at you, and you're sitting backwards in front of the racetrack.
And we are under caution as the track cleanup continues. They've put an awful lot of speedy dry all the way around this 5/8 mile square oval here at Flemington, New Jersey, a historic facility that has been racing cars since 1915. And Mark, we were down in the museum looking at some of the cars and stars that have raced here in the past. People like Ira Vale, Ralph DePalma, Peter DePalo have raced here. Ted Horn raced here. All kinds of different drivers, and a young Italian kid in the early 60s raced here and won some of his first national events, and that was a young kid by the name of Mario Andretti.
Mario Andretti, Troy Ruttman. You got a lot of your IndyCar drivers that did come out of this area, this racetrack, back when they ran those type of race cars. If you're ever in this area and you want to see a great racetrack with a lot of history, it's worth it just to come to the racetrack to go through the museum.
And one thing about this speedway, as we say, it's been here for a long time. It's part of the Flemington Fairgrounds that's been in operation since 1856. They raced horses here until 1915 when they started racing cars. And the current promoter here, Paul Cool, is in a fight right now to save this facility, as the Fair Board has been entertaining an opportunity to sell this property to a shopping center developer. And I know that Paul Cool is battling hard trying to buy this facility, and we want to wish him all the luck in the world, because there is a lot of tradition and a lot of history at this facility, and I sure would hate to see this beautiful racetrack become a department store or shopping mall.
Oh, it'd be sad to see something with so much history going down the drain. It's almost like it needs to be taken over by the Historic Society just to be preserved as someplace it's a classic.
And this racetrack is definitely a classic. It kind of looks like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway cut in two and kind of squeezed together. It is a square racetrack. It has 4 turns and 4 straightaways. They have a front straightaway and then a straightaway between turns 1 and 2. You have your back straightaway between turns 3 and 4. And then you have another short straightaway between turns 3 and 4. So, I mean, it's a unique layout, and they almost drive the racetrack. The racing groove here, Mark, is like a diamond.
Right, they drive a diamond here. They drive it hard and let it float up to the outside retaining walls in all 4 straightaways. A lot of the drivers, when they got here, they did not like this racetrack. There's still a few that don't like this racetrack. But Jody Ridley made the statement early that once you get a little bit of seat time here, a lot of them are going to like it. And as they got more practice, a lot of them do like this racetrack.
One thing about it, the cars do run some fast speeds here as they've been clocked at well over 100 miles an hour on each of these 4 short straightaways. But as fast as they're going, it's not necessarily a horsepower racetrack, because in talking to the drivers yesterday, not too many of them said that they really were getting in the throttle hard.
Right, coming off the corners, they say they skate, which means the track's not abrasive. They're spinning the tires coming off the turns, so horsepower is useless when the tires spin. So you have to be able to handle through the turns.
And this is definitely not only a driver's racetrack, but the crew chiefs as well, working with the drivers to set these cars up, have to come up with the right combination. The driver has to be able to drive the car around the speedway. So you can't really rely on out-horsepowering another driver. You have to rely on out-handling them and out-driving them. Now we've got a couple of drivers contrasting in experience up in front. The veteran Dick Anderson in the Mopar Performance Dodge Avenger, car number 92 up front. Mario Goslin looking for major sponsorship in car number 10, his Chevrolet Monte Carlo, running in the second spot, his first full year of national competition. As we get set to go back to green flag action, Dick Anderson will bring him off the 4th turn, and he got a good restart over Mario Goslin, and Goslin he got even a better restart on the 3rd place driver, Todd Crow, in car number 38.
Dickie Anderson is great to watch on restarts. He will not restart the same place in 100 restarts. He just knows how to catch somebody sleeping.
And in the Formula Cup race, we had a situation where it looked like it was snowing on the front straightaway with the styrofoam from the styrofoam block blowing down the front straightaway. Now we have Speedy Dry blowing everywhere as it blows up the racetrack, and we've got a problem down the front straightaway. 2 cars getting together, the 14 car and the 20 car. We still remain under green, though.
Right, they did a great job of putting somebody in the wall and taking this thing back to caution again. But maybe we can run green for a while and let these guys race and see what happens.
We had Joe Strangle Sr. in the 14 car and Joe Nagel in the 20 car getting together, and it looked like the 14 car, he may have a flat right rear tire on that car, but looks like he's moving along pretty good.
Right now we're fixing to have a lot of lap traffic come into play. Dickie Anderson knows how to get around lap traffic. They don't seem to be getting out of his way, which makes it tough. Mario Goslin used it to his advantage to get back up onto the back bumper of Dickie Anderson.
One thing about Dick Anderson, you can bet if those lap cars won't get out of his way, he'll let them hear that chrome horn.
Right, Dickie's a master at making, kind of like the Earnhardt intimidation. He can use his bumper to let you know he's there. Kind of intimidation. And we got a car backwards on the front straightaway.
Right here on the front straightaway. Car number 9 involved in his second tangle of the evening. And that is one of the local automobiles. That's Charlie Fawn Jr. out of Layton, Pennsylvania, in the Layton Lincoln Mercury Ford Thunderbird, spinning down the front straightaway. And we have got a replay. Let's see what happened with the 9 car.
Unbelievable.
Coming off of turn number 4, Layton gets loose up on the high side. Just misses the styrofoam barriers coming off the 4th turn. Spins the car around, and it looks like he'll slap the guardrail with the left front corner of the automobile. Locks the brakes down to keep the car up on the high side of the racetrack as the rest of the cars move on the inside.
Well, this was a car that was involved in a wreck earlier, so you don't know how that car was handling. It just looked like it broke loose on him. Something may have broke, or else maybe he just cannot drive the car like he wanted to.
Charlie Fawn Jr. in the 9 car, bringing out the caution flag. There you can see him moving on the speedway with damage to the front end of the automobile. And he's got damage on the back end from the earlier incident too. So looks like he's still got maybe 1 corner left on that car.
And the roof.
And the roof. So he's got plenty of sheet metal left. The left front fender is gone. I think he lost that on the earlier incident, as we did not see that laying down there on the racetrack on the front straightaway. But we have 53 laps in the books, now completing lap 54 as they cross the stripe. The caution laps do count until we reach lap number 90, and then the remaining 10 laps will be run under green. Dick Anderson is out in front as they get the 1-to-go signal. Mario Goslin in second. That's how they finished at Anderson, South Carolina. Mark Bishardi, are we going to see an instant replay of 2 weeks ago?
If Dickie Anderson hopes so, Mario Goslin hopes not. we're getting a chance to watch Dickey on the restart again. Let's see where he restarts this time.
Got a tremendous restart last time over Mario Gosselin in the 10 car, and they caught the third place car, John Crow. He was flat sleeping on that restart, but he's right up there with him this time. There's Anderson back on the Mario Gosselin. He drops back about 3 car lengths, but he was having that problem a couple of weeks ago trying to stay with Anderson on the restart, but it looks like he is not letting him lose sight of Anderson.
Well, he's right there where he can learn a lot. You can learn a lot racing behind a guy with the talent and the experience of Dickey Anderson.
And a good battle behind them for the third spot. John Crow in car number 38 out of Harrisburg, North Carolina, driving the Jackaroo Chevrolet Monte Carlo, running third. And then we've got the 37 car, Larry Raines in fourth. But right now we're watching the 2 leaders, Dick Anderson in car number 92, and Gosselin got into the back bumper of Anderson, got that car sideways, gathered it back up, and he did not lose the position as John Crow and Larry Raines were coming on hard, Mark.
That showed a lot of talent to be able to correct that car. That car was almost completely sideways in the corner where it's slick. And John Crow made up a lot of room, but you got to give Mario Gosselin all the credit in the world for saving that car.
And Mario Gosselin didn't lose that much ground. In fact, he looks like he's reeling Anderson back in again.
Right, he may have just gotten a little bit impatient on that move because he is gaining on Anderson. Maybe he just needs to bide his time a little bit.
In talking to Dick Anderson before the race, he was kind of undecided how he wanted to set his car up. He had a little bit of a push this afternoon in practice, and he wasn't sure whether the racetrack would tighten up or not. So he didn't know whether to loosen the car up or leave it with a little bit of a push and see that if the car would loosen up later in the race, as he did at Anderson 2 weeks ago.
Well, he guessed right. The car is not exactly perfect, but he can drive it when it's a little off.
And we're looking at the third place battle between John Crow and the Jackaroo Barbie Sauce Chevrolet Monte Carlo, car number 38, the young rookie out of Harrisburg, North Carolina. He had Larry Raines out of Cummings, Georgia, in the Palmetto Training Chevrolet Monte Carlo, car number 37. But now it looks like Crow has been able to open up a pretty good advantage over Raines in the 37 car.
John Crow caught the lap traffic just perfect. Larry Raines didn't. We've got another situation right here of a young driver and a veteran battling against each other.
And running in the 5th spot in the number 71 car is Bobby Gill out of Dalton, Georgia. And Bobby has been a 2-time winner this season on the Hooters Cup Trail, so you can't count him out in that number 71 car.
No, and you wonder whether he has actually showed his hand yet. Bobby is normally a very aggressive driver and likes to get to the front. He hasn't been able to get there yet, but it seems like he's gaining on Larry Raines.
Well, he got stuck behind the 9 car in lap traffic and lost a little bit of ground to Raines, but now Raines gets stuck behind. In fact, he's in heavy lap traffic. So the 37 car is on the move as Gill tries to stay with him as Larry Raines has a lot of traffic to get through before he moves back up on John Crow. So it looks like John Crow has opened up about a half a straightaway advantage now on Larry Raines.
Well, this is what short track racing is all about. This is kind of like a super speedway for the short track drivers, but lap traffic will come into play on any short track, and that's what we're seeing here tonight.
So Larry Raines out of Cummings, Georgia, one of the veterans of late model racing coming out of North Georgia, and he has a good run. I know he was happy to start on the pole position tonight.
He needed a good run. He's been a little off this year. He's had little problems. The little 10-cent pieces have hurt him. He's been at the wrong spot at the wrong time on a few races, but he's running real well here tonight.
Dick Anderson still out in front in car number 92 as he begins to pull away from Mario Gosselin in the 10 car. He's just picking his way right through that lap traffic. The leaders are doing a good job, Mark Bishardi, of working this heavy lap traffic.
Right, and there is a lot of lap traffic out here tonight.
Still looking at Larry Raines. That's your 4th place automobile. There's your race leader, Dick Anderson, in car number 92. As you can see, Mario Gosselin has moved out of the picture in the 2nd spot in car number 10. As Dick Anderson has a pretty good interval over the Lake Wales driver in that number 10 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Dick Anderson, after the first half of the season, I know he's got to be enjoying the success that he's been having. It looks like that he's been in a position to win just about every race this year, but he's having some tough luck with that Dodge Avenger. He started out with a Dodge Daytona, switched to the Dodge Avenger for Anderson, South Carolina, so maybe that's changed his luck.
It might have. He said it was a new body he wanted to try. They've been with the Daytona for a couple years. They were with the LeBaron before that, and after 3 years, I think they've got this Dodge figured out.
So Dick Anderson out in front looking for his second straight win. And he was very convincing in the season opener back in February at New Smyrna Speedway in Florida. But he was way out in front, had an engine let go. And that's just kind of the year he had the first part of the year. But now he's out in front trying to put together 2 in a row. And Mark, he's coming up on some heavy lap traffic. We'll have to watch and see if Mario Gosselin can use that to his advantage as those lap cars, they're battling for position on the racetrack, running side by side.
Right, Dick Anderson right now is just concentrating on the lap cars. He's not worried about Mario Gosselin at all. He can't even see him in his rearview mirror. Now he just has to be smooth and make sure nobody in these slower cars keeps him from victory lane.
Dick Anderson coming down the front straightaway, and Gosselin has pulled in to within a car length or 2. He's just out of your picture, but believe me, he's there, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the nose of his car there to the right of your screen. There's the black number 10, Mario Gosselin. There you see him in your picture now. He's on Anderson's back bumper as they come off of 4 and head down the front straightaway. Mario Gosselin must have got a good break in traffic, Mark.
Well, we talked about earlier how everything happened to work for Dickie's favor in the lap traffic. Well, that one worked for the second place car. Dickie got held up a little bit, and Mario kicked his way through directly behind Dickie as Anderson did all the work for him. Now we got a lap car that's right directly in the way.
And one thing about it, you know that Mario Gosselin's spotters have got to be talking to him on the radio, trying to keep him out of a situation that Mike Garvey got into.
Right, you can't be impatient in a race like this. Now is when patience has to take effect, and we've got caution on the racetrack. We've got a car up in turn 1.
In turn number 1, a car up into, that's the 74 car, Jeff Burkett. And a tough break for him. Looked like he had a good run going tonight, Mark.
All right, but he's right in those styrofoam blocks, so maybe he can just drive it off from there.
And we've got a replay of what happened to Jeff Burkett in car number 74 out of Lake Mary, Florida. Let's go to the replay. There you see Jeff Burkett spinning around backwards, got tangled up with Randy Fox in the Wayne Bo's Tomato Hooters Restaurant Chevrolet Monte Carlo, car number 4. Burkett sliding up into the foam blocks and backs it in there. And those blocks held together pretty good, Mark Bishardi.
He hit hard, but it looks like landing in a pillow the way they just collapsed around the car, bounced off. Maybe we'll see him drive away and get back into this race. If that would have been a guardrail, they'd have been taking that off on the hook.
Well, you got that right, as the wrecker is backing up to the 94 car, so perhaps it might have broke the front tie rod of the car. But that's something that they can repair very quickly, as the tie rod ends are a Heim joint assembly that they just screw off of the tie rod and screw a new one back in and hook it back up.
Right, there's a lot of these parts that they can replace if it's only a minor problem. If you hit that wall as hard as he would have hit it without the styrofoam blocks, they'd have taken that car home in pieces in the trailer.
And we've got 77 laps in the books, and we will be right back with more of Hooters Cup action from Flemington Speedway right after these messages. And we are going to be leaving you from Flemington, New Jersey, but we'll be back on the air 2 weeks on August the 11th on Friday night. So join us from 411 Motor Speedway in Knoxville, Tennessee. We'll show you the remaining laps of the Engine Magic 100. Those of you watching in the Hooters stores, stand by. We'll be bringing you to the finish. So long. And we are broadcasting to the Hooters stores live across the country. Roby Helm and Mark Bishardi with you as Dick Anderson leading the 100-lap Hooters Cup race here in Flemington, New Jersey. Running in second spot, Mario Gosselin in car number 10. In the third position, John Crow, car number 38. Looks like Dick Anderson has opened up a pretty good lead now over Mario Gosselin. Perhaps Mario's going to need some time to get those tires up to the temperature that he needs to make a challenge.
That and Anderson got another one of his great jumps. We just saw Mike Garvey come back in the pits. He tried to go out and run a couple laps. The motor was steaming from a water leak of some sort, so he's back in the pits trying to get that car back out to get on the racetrack for points.
So the laps still clicking off as 83 laps now complete with Dick Anderson on the point. Mario Gosselin running in second spot. John Crow in third. Fourth will be Larry Raines in car number 37. And in car number 71, Bobby Gill holding down the fifth spot.
Bobby Gill's having a tough night tonight. He's gotten trapped behind some lap cars, and people have gotten around him that probably shouldn't have gotten around him. So now he's having to work back through the field again, and he's having a tough time with the John Blewett car, who's a local car, but now he goes around the outside, and we're back to Anderson leading this race. It seems to be like Dickie's got this track under control.
Well, Dick Anderson, I knew that coming into this race that experience would play an important role, as a lot of these drivers have come into this track that have never seen it before.
Well, now we're back to the 71 and the 92. They've had quite a battle going right now, and Daryl Shelnutt is coming into the picture to try to match what Bobby Gill did. It took him 3 laps on the outside to get around the John Blewett car.
And John Blewett is a very experienced driver in this area, Mark, as he runs dirt and he runs asphalt as well.
Right, he told me that he runs occasionally with the NASCAR Modified Tour. He runs here, he has 4 wins here at Flemington, including a 100-lapper last week in the NASCAR Modifieds here at Flemington.
And one thing about it, that 2-barrel versus 4-barrel coming into play in this battle as well.
Right, and so far it hasn't hurt the guys with the 4 barrels. They seem to be able to motor past the lap traffic, and it didn't play out like we figured.
So John Blewett out of Powell, New Jersey now has a rear view mirror full of Daryl Shelnutt out of Hialeah, Florida in car number 7. We haven't talked about him much in the naturally fresh salad dressing Chevrolet Monte Carlo, but he is beginning to work his way up through the field after having a good run at Anderson Motor Speedway. And there is the veteran Jody Ridley in car number 98 in his Ford Thunderbird out of Chatsworth, Georgia.
We haven't talked about Jody much. We said he was been having a bad year, so he's looking for a good finish. We may not have much of a race for the lead, but we do have some racing back here within the field.
And we are under 10 laps to go with Dick Anderson way out in front. He's got a half a straightaway advantage or more over Mario Gosselin in car number 10. We're watching this battle on back through the back. Daryl Shelnutt battling with Jody Ridley in car number 98. As Bobby Gill is in 5th. Blewett is in the 6th spot. 7th is Shelnutt, and 8th is Jody Ridley. So we're watching the battle for 7th and 8th. Daryl Shelnutt now running 7th in car number 7. And now we've got Bobby Gill in the number 71 car battling with Larry Raines. They're up there battling for the 4th spot, and they've got some lap traffic in front of them, Mark.
Right, it's been tough on the leaders tonight. A lot of them can't get through the lap traffic because they're not getting anything to work with. Bobby Gill's using his advantage, and this is getting exciting back here, back within the field. We just saw Mark Garvey pull into the pits. He's giving it up for tonight. That car just cannot handle it anymore tonight.
93 laps in the book, 7 to go. We are watching the battle for 4th spot. Bobby Gill puts the nose of number 71 underneath Raines, but Raines will hold him off coming down the front straightaway. So Raines in 4th, Bobby Gill in the 5th spot. 6th will be John Blewett. 7th is Daryl Shelnutt. 8th is Jody Ridley in car number 98. And they are all running together on the Speedway.
Right, here we go through lap traffic again. Larry Raines is doing a good job getting through the lap traffic and holding Bobby Gill off. He's working it like they do in basketball as a pick, so it's working to his advantage over Bobby Gill right now.
So Daryl Shelnutt looking for another top 10 finishes. He all year long has been in the top 5 in the Hooters Cup point standings. Right,
we talked about John Crow surprising a lot of people. Daryl Shelnutt has done the same thing. Daryl has raced strictly in South Florida between Hialeah, Punta Gorda, and DeSoto Speedway. And this is his first time really traveling, and he's showing people that he is a racer.
Dick Anderson out in front in car number 92 as we are down to less than 3 laps to go. And Anderson has got to be hearing every nut and bolt and strange noise underneath the hood of car number 92. As we've got caution on the Speedway, trouble in front of the leader. Anderson will get by to the inside. And Jimmy Cope in car number 15 looks like he has caught the end of the pit wall in turn number 4. And you can see the tires that they have stacked up there. So Cope involved in a tangle. We saw another car up on the high side spinning. And Jimmy looks to be okay as he's moving around inside the car. But you can imagine Jimmy Cope has got to be pretty frustrated with the way that the Jackaroo Barbie Sauce Chevy Monte Carlo has been running tonight. One of the top campaigners to come out of Florida.
Well, Jimmy was one of them that told me he didn't care for this track a whole lot because he's used to the quarters and the third miles. But you could see him right there. He took his window net down. He motioned he was all right. He's talking to his crew on his radio. But this happened right directly in front of Dick Anderson. We could see it on the screen that Dickie was backing off, and then we caught the wreck.
Well, Dick Anderson did a heads-up piece of driving because, as I was saying, he's listening to everything under the hood of that car, listening to every strange noise. And about that time, I saw him slow down, and I thought to myself, oh, no, now I've jinxed him. Something has happened to him. But he saw what was going on up ahead of him. His spotters around the Speedway notified him on the radio what was going on to it, so he could get slowed down way before he got to that incident in between turns 3 and 4. So 97 laps in the books. The caution laps do not count on the last 10 laps, so we'll have 3 to go when we come back to Flemington, New Jersey. We'll be right back. Roby Helm back with you from Flemington, New Jersey at the Flemington Raceway. Mark Bishardi alongside as we are joined by those of you in the Hooters restaurants across the country, and we are glad that you could join us here tonight. Hope you're enjoying those nearly world-famous chicken wings at Hooters. And you might want to try out one of my favorites, the barbecued ribs, and put a lot of that Jackaroo Barbie sauce on them. So we will go back to green here shortly. We have 3 laps to go. And while you're in watching this at Hooters restaurants, don't forget to check out the T-shirts that they have there. They have all kinds of different Hooters racing apparel at your Hooters stores, so be sure to check that out. And if they don't have it displayed out there, ask the manager to show it to you, and that's exclusively coming out of the Hooters stores. That's the only place that you can get this apparel is at your local Hooters store, so remember that. On the point in car number 92 with the Dodge Avenger as he looks to put the Mopar in the winner's circle for the 2nd straight week, and running second to Anderson for the 2nd straight race is Mario Gosselin out of Lake Wales, Florida. He's looking for national sponsorship on his number 10 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. John Crow in the Jackaroo Barbie Sauce Chevrolet. Car number 38 just picked up that sponsor this week, doing a good job for the folks at Jackaroo, running in the 3rd spot. And 4th is Larry Raines in car number 37, and he was at the head of a hard-fought battle with Bobby Gill back there in car number 71. John Blewett in the 82. Green flag is out. 3 laps to go. And Larry Raines is off the pace. The 4th-place car did not come up to speed, and Bobby Gill was able to get around, and we've got a big crash in turn number 1. Styrofoam flying everywhere as Ronnie Sanders involved in the 18 car. The 06 Don Davis Jr. involved. Also involved, it looks like, the number 110 car involved. So some of those cars seen their 2nd accident. The 14S car also involved. And no, ladies and gentlemen, you are not seeing snow in July here at Flemington, New Jersey. That is styrofoam as they put the styrofoam blocks up against the wall, and the car's hitting that to absorb that impact from the steel guardrail. And let's go to the replay and see what happened in turn number 1. Look at this, Mark Bishardi. 3 wide in turn 1. That's not going to work.
No, and somebody got up underneath Marilyn McCreary, which caused a chain reaction. You see the 10 car, the 18 car, they're on top of each other. Then you see the 2 cars behind, the 6 and the 14, just getting on the binders, trying to stay out of it. But somebody got into Marilyn McCreary and turned her sideways, which started the chain reaction.
And Ronnie Sanders has got to be very thankful that that styrofoam was up there in turn 1. He got hooked up and his car slid to the right, And without that styrofoam there, I think Ronnie Sanders would have had some serious damage to car number 18.
Right. We have another angle of this replay.
There you see the 110 car spinning down on the inside with Marilyn McCrary in the number 57 car. Here comes the 6 car sliding into the picture. There is the 14 car. And about that time, the track was completely blocked, but the 14 car sliding up in behind Ronnie Sanders as he is in the middle of that blizzard up there, that styrofoam blizzard you see on your screen.
It looked like sliding into a snowbank. But it was just a chain reaction type deal, and you got to feel sorry for Ronnie Sanders. You got to feel sorry for the locals that expected to do real well. But Sanders, what you don't like to do is you don't like to hit flat onto a wall, and that's the way he would have hit.
So Ronnie Sanders on the hook, headed back to the pit area, and you can see him. They put the remains of what they have left of those stocks up against the guardrail as Ronnie Sanders' car being toted off. So once they get the track swept off, and in addition to that, they are putting some Speedy Dry down on the inside of the racetrack. So not only are we going to have Speedy Dry dust blowing up there, we're going to have the styrofoam leftovers up there blowing around. 97 laps in the books, Mark, 3 to go, and those drivers are really going to have to battle visibility problems in turn 1 with 3 to go.
Right, and they're going to have to tiptoe through that corner to try to keep from having anything happen to them. It's going to be different from a lot of these drivers. They're not used to seeing stuff like this styrofoam flying in their face when they're coming into a turn.
Well, that's exactly right, and I'm not sure if these drivers could put them on these race cars, but if they could, they might want to install windshield wipers to wash everything off the windshield when they go by.
Hopefully not snow tires.
Right. And we understand that the 37 car of Larry Raines broke a transmission on the restart. So a tough break for Larry Raines in car number 37, was running in the 4th spot. And Mark, that may have got everybody bunched up behind Larry Raines that might have triggered that incident in turn number 1 towards the back of the pack.
It could very well have happened. I was looking down the front straightaway when they got the start, and it was like as if he missed a gear, missed a shift, which is what happens when you break the transmission, of course. But Bobby Gill fired and was underneath of him, almost pushing him down the straightaway. And the 82 car of John Blewett and Darrell Shellnut and Jody Ridley, they were all almost into that incident, and it took some talented drivers to get through it. And Larry Raines was not spun out, which he probably could have been very easily if these guys had not been on the ball.
So here's the situation. We are under caution with 97 laps in the books. The laps under caution do not count on the last 10 laps of Hooters Cup Racing. Dick Anderson in car number 92 is your leader, looking for his 2nd straight victory on the Hooters Cup Tour after picking up his first of the season 2 weeks ago at Anderson Motor Speedway in Anderson, South Carolina, running in the 2nd spot. A driver looking for his first victory on the Hooters Cup Trail, but he is currently 2nd in the point standings. So Mario Goslin in car number 10 looking for major sponsorship on his Chevrolet Monte Carlo out of Lake Wales, Florida. In car number 10, running in 2nd, John Crow, who just picked up Jackaroo barbecue sauce on his number 38 Chevrolet Monte Carlo out of Harrisburg, North Carolina. Transplanted Californian running 3rd in the 38 car. Bobby Gill out of Dalton, Georgia, another driver looking for major sponsorship, as he's the defending champion of the Snowball Derby, I believe, down in Pensacola, Florida, or the All-American 400 that he's the
400.
defending champion of. So Bobby Gill, originally out of Sarasota, Florida, now living in Dalton, Georgia, up in the Appalachians, running in the 4th spot, and 5th will be John Blewett, one of the local drivers out of New Jersey, holding down the 5th position, John out of Howell, New Jersey. And speaking of the Appalachian Mountains, that's where we're going to be headed in 2 weeks on Friday night, August the 11th. And Mark, I am looking forward to this one because for me, I get to go home, sleep in my own bed, don't have to go on the road, as we're going to my home track, 411 Motor Speedway in Knoxville, Tennessee. And we want to say hello to all the folks at the Knoxville Hooters, and we're going to be coming to see you on Friday night, August the 11th, and on Wednesday night, August the 9th, we will be at the Knoxville Hooters for a race party night. We'll have some of the Hooters Cup drivers there. We'll have some of the race cars on display from the Formula Cup and the Late Model Series. So mark that down on your calendar on Wednesday night, August the 9th. If you are watching us from the Knoxville, Tennessee Hooters, we will be there to see you folks. Be right back right after these words from our Snow Green. So 3 laps to go, Mark Bishardi. Do you think that Dick Anderson, the veteran that he is, he's been fast on these restarts. Can he do it one more time?
Well, Dick Anderson's got to be thinking, this is where I want to be. Like we talked earlier, he's a master at the restart. It's going to be interesting to see again where he restarts. So far, he's done it about 6 different places.
And on that restart, we have a lot of speedy dry up in turn number 1. As you could see the cars fishtailing through there when they went through that area of the racetrack. And Dick Anderson, he's on the gas in turn 3. Let's see if Tony Boswell gives him the green. He does. Anderson picked up the throttle earlier than I think I've seen anybody pick it up tonight.
He's done it real early, and they just skated through that turn, through all the speedy dry. And we got him coming back down into turn 3. Gosselin seems to be reeling him in a little bit.
Well, Dick Anderson has got to be feathering that throttle through the speedy dry areas. They're going through now in turn number 1. You can see it trailing out behind his automobile, and he must have got those wheels spinning because Gosselin has pulled right up on his back bumper. This could be a shootout to the end. The white flag is out. 1 lap to go. Dick Anderson out in front, but Mario Gosselin, he wants to win it. We will see how bad he looks to the inside in turn number 2. Anderson will shut the door as they head down the back straightaway for the final time. Dick Anderson down on the inside, hugging the inside. Here comes Gosselin on the outside in turn 4. They'll come down to the checkered flag, and Anderson will hang on for the win with Mario Gosselin in second. John Crow will finish third. 4th goes to Bobby Gill, and in 5th it'll be John Blewett in the 82 car. Boy, did Anderson have his hands full with the youngster from Lake Wales, Mario Gosselin, on those last 3 laps, Mark Bishardi.
Well, it seemed like he was getting a little loose up here in the styrofoam or whatever it was up in turn 1 and 2, and Gosselin was getting through it pretty easy. But Gosselin made it interesting there at the end, and so did John Crow, because John Crow was giving Gosselin all he could handle if he'd have slipped up coming off turn 4. But Gosselin had to do something, and he chose the outside. May have not been the right move, but he at least tried to make a move. So give him credit for that move.
I think that he knew that Anderson was not even going to give him an inch on the inside on that last lap. So I think you're right. The outside was about the only thing he had left to try. But I think we're going to see Mario Gosselin in the winner's circle before this thing's all over. And who knows, it may come in 2 weeks on Friday night, August the 11th, when we go to the beautiful 411 Motor Speedway at the foot of the Great Smoky Mountains in Knoxville, Tennessee for a 100-lap Hooters Cup event. Dick Anderson, for the 2nd straight race, brings the Mopar Performance Dodge Avenger into the winner's circle. Mark Bishardi, he's on a roll, and when you get Dick Anderson on a roll, it's like a big snowball.
Right, and Dickie races for a living, and this is what he does. He goes out and wins races. He's got over 800 feature wins in the books, but Mario Gosselin, you got to give him a good call on this. He's probably tired of following Dick Anderson around a racetrack because he came in second to him last week. But what a great race for Mario Gosselin and the rookie John Crow.
And as you were saying earlier, Mario Gosselin running second to Dick Anderson. He may not enjoy that, but one thing about it, you said it earlier, he is learning a lot.
That's where you learn. You learn racing with the masters. Whether you race in front of them or behind them, you learn something both ways, and Mario Gosselin has to be learning a lot because Dickie Anderson can teach you a whole bunch in just a matter of a few laps.
And Dick Anderson out of the car waving to the crowd. Dick Anderson out of Wildwood, Florida, climbing out of that Mopar Performance Dodge Avenger, and I know that he's got to be tickled to death, and I see Fred Pump standing by down in the winner's circle, so we will wait to see if he is ready to go with Dick Anderson. As we also have in the picture, you see him behind Dick Anderson, Frankie Grill, who is a very noted car builder from Birmingham, Alabama, and that's one of the ingredients that has been helping Dick Anderson.
Right, and Dickie's getting a lot of help from Frankie Grill. He's getting a lot of help from Chrysler and Mopar. They want to have a car that people can see on TV, and Dickie Anderson's given them that car to see on TV.
And now let's
Pop open the champagne, and here we go. Hooters, go get some beer, get some wings. Go ahead and fill up there as Dick Anderson sprays everybody down on the racetrack, even the announcer. Dick, does this change anything for you now on the point standings? I know you don't know that yet, but the outlook for the rest of the season with 2 wins?
Well, I hated to see Mike fall out because he's been doing an excellent job this year, and I tell you what, he deserves to be first in the points because he's did the things it takes to be there. First half of the season, we had a good car then, just like we do now, but it seems like we were just plagued with mechanical problems. And I told him at the halfway part, last half, I felt like it was going to be a good run for us. And sure enough, since the halfway mark, we've got a second and 2 firsts. So I just hope the last of the year keeps going like it is right now.
All righty, thank you very much, Dick Anderson. We're going to go find Mario Goslin. We're going to look for Mario and see if we can get Mario up here. Here comes Mario walking into the picture as they start to take the pictures of Dick Anderson here in Victory Lane.
Thank you.
Mario, always, it seems like anymore now, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Well, we've been looking at the back end of this Dodge here. We've been trying to get out front of it, but it was a little too strong for us tonight. And we had a good car, just a little bit tight the whole race. And I just got to thank all my sponsors, Port City, Penske, Action Welding. That's everybody that helps, my crew, girlfriend Michelle, mom and dad, just everybody. Hooters for the series, Goodyear. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but everybody's doing a great job.
Mario, with the way things have been going, you think you're going to crack Victory Lane? It's looking very good for you.
I kind of thought I was going to have it tonight for a little while, but Dodge pulled alongside of us. I think it's just a matter of time.
Mario, when Dickie got around you the first time, you were able to get back around him. What did you think after that? You think, oh, maybe I've got him covered now?
Definitely thought I might have been a little better in lap traffic, but when we got by ourselves, he definitely had a better car.
Well, John Crow brought home 3rd place, and we're going to see if we can round up John Crow as we wait here for John to come up. John is the best finishing rookie tonight. He currently leads the Hooters Cup Series rookie standings. And we'll still wait for John to come up. Here comes John Crow. John, a good strong run for you tonight.
Real good. The car, we started 8th, and the car just kept getting better and better, and then I got a little tight in the end. But the guys at Hamke's, all the guys, y'all know how hot it was out here, and they busted their butts all day today, and the car was really nice, and our 3rd place reflects that. I'm really happy.
John, your first year in a late model, you got to be pleased with what you're doing right now, currently leading the Hooters Cup Series.
Definitely, and this series is a great series. There's a lot of good drivers here, and you can learn from the good drivers. And I got to thank my crew again. Those guys, they set the car up, and I am a rookie, and they just tell me what to do, and I try to do it. And when we do, we run pretty good, like tonight. I'm really happy.
Well, John Crow carrying the Jackaroo sponsorship on the side of that Chevrolet Monte Carlo tonight. John, congratulations. A good, hard run, a fine run for you. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, at the Hooters restaurant.